So, a very good afternoon to all my learners. And here we are today once again for our course, Understanding Incubation and Entrepreneurship. We have had quite a long journey as of now, and we are at the week 10 of our course. And as you are all aware, that the course is of 12 weeks duration. So, we have covered quite a lot in this course up till now, and we have got 2 more weeks left, excluding today, which means that we'll be having 2 more sessions in the month of April. And in the month of April itself, you have your final examination, right? So I think it is scheduled approximately at the end of this month, the next month, which is April, and our sessions will also be closing within the next 2-3 weeks of the next month, right? So I think we have covered quite a lot of content. You would have observed that a lot of guest lectures, experts, startup and co-founders, startup founders have come, have shared their views, their points, their journey, their experiences, their moments of truth, their pivot moments, their turning points, along with those from the incubators across different IITs, including IIT Hyderabad, IIT Bombay, Science, CFHE, ETIC. We have got so many of them coming here, coming and sharing the kind of offerings they have, the kind of support they give to the startup co-founders. So it's simply amazing to see that we have such a rich ecosystem already developed here in India, and technical institutions wherein the student can leverage these kind of facilities, these kind of supports, and they can actually become job givers as compared to job seekers. So I think that has been the agenda of entrepreneurship, that uh, you work upon a certain idea, you develop your solution, and then you found a very successful company. And how you do it, how you go about it, each and every step, that is what these incubators, these support channels, all these they guide you, right? Obviously, they do have their own selection process, so it's not that easy that you've got an idea, you've got a proof of concept, and then they will simply accept you for their program, right? So they do have a shortlisting process, and if they find value in it, if they find that yes, you have some kind of traction, you have covered a certain distance, probably you'll be accepted for the program, whether it is 12 week, whether it is 3 months, 1 year program, depending upon, at what stage you are in, your startup is in. They might accept you, they might guide you, they might mentor you, they might connect you, network you with the right kind of people, with the right kind of brains, with the right kind of expertise, so that you grow well, and you be successful in your journey of entrepreneurship and incubation, right? So that has been the basic aim, basic premise of this entire course, that the learners from this course get motivated, be aware of what are the support systems available, and then leverage those support systems to refine their idea, to refine their proposition, to have a very effective business model, so that you become one of the unicorns, as well as you improve the lives of the people. Like, so especially with content today, this last sentence, improving the lives of the people, is very, very important, because today you will see that Professor Anil Gupta, who has been a pioneer, in grassroots innovations and providing that support, opening up so many different institutions within the country, and then conducting Shodha Yatras across India. It's simply amazing the amount of effort he's putting in supporting the grassroots innovation. And you'll be seeing three of the grassroots innovators. They'll be sharing their problems, and obviously there will be a small lecture content by Professor Anil Gupta and Miss Anamika, who are sharing, what Gyan does, and what are expected from designers Right. So he gave certain questions, and it's very interesting to see where he says that, maybe not every designer can become a successful entrepreneur, but obviously every designer can actually help one entrepreneur be successful. So that's a very interesting take. I think that's a very, very deep thought to it, because, everybody possesses a different kind of skill sets. And if we are able to support any of the successful entrepreneurs and act like entrepreneurs, now that is a different dimension he gave in. We'll be seeing it in our content recap today as well. What does he meant by acting like an entrepreneur? And so that is what he's expecting from the designers, from those who want to be a part of this entrepreneurial journey, right? So with that brief premise, we'll start our today's session, which is the week 10 session, and I'll be sharing my screen. So I'll also join in by my mobile phone. The aim is that one should be aware of what is happening, because in my past experience, what has happened is that I continued with the lecture, and the net had got disconnected, and there was a big lag between that. Just give me a minute. I'll connect it from my Gmail account. This particular. So I've joined in. Uh, so, so let's start our journey today. Today we are entering week 10. We are entering double digits weeks now. So as you're all aware that it's a 12-week course, and we have 2 more weeks left, excluding today. The course is curated and instructed upon by Professor V.K. Chakravarti sir, wherein a lot of people, a lot of experts have also onboarded, shared their viewpoints, shared their perspectives on how they can become great entrepreneurs, successful entrepreneurs, and what are the different facilities which one can take benefit from, and how do you actually go about the process of innovation. So all that aspects have been covered up till now. My name is Abhishek. A little bio of mine is that by education I'm an architect and industrial designer from the School of Planning and Architecture, New Delhi. And maybe let me just turn my camera screen off. Yeah. And after doing my master's of industrial design, I joined Infosys as a communication designer. I was working there for around 2 3 years. The primary work area was developing websites, developing web applications uh, for the huge uh, force, which was about 10 lakhs at time. It might have increased. It's been more than a decade since I've left Infosys. And after working at Infosys, I joined another design studio. It's called Think Design, and it has branches in India and overseas as of now. And it also dealt with designing interfaces, designing products. But now it's hardcore into research aspects as well as the digital domain. And after that, I realized that I had certain interest towards design consultancy, upcycling, wherein I, along with my partner, we started a company. So it was again a startup. So I also have had some experience of startup in my early career time, wherein we offered design consultancy services. We worked for some big clients, including Bajaj Electricals And it was an interesting journey. It was around a 3 years journey, and then slowly I transitioned into teaching as well, wherein I started with part-time teaching at the Department of Design in SPA Delhi, followed by World University of Design, and then a state government institute called UP Institute of Design, which is in Noida. And so after working upon around 8 to 9 years, I realized that I need to take a break. I need to restart my education. So I joined Department of Design at IIT Roorkee, and I am currently a research scholar here, which basically means that I am pursuing a PhD course here. And currently, I'm in my fourth year of the PhD. And as a part of the Prime Minister's Research Fellowship, we have been given a mandate to give time every week, at least 2 hours time every week, in some good cause, especially in the context of teaching, wherein this NPTEL gave us the platform, to offer this particular requirement, and really happy that NPTEL has provided this platform so that we can, uh, you know, utilize this platform in terms of meeting our requirements and at the same time connecting with so many people, so many brains, and helping them out in this particular course and trying to solve their problems, their doubts, their queries. Right. So with that brief profile of mine, let's go back to our presentation deck. So I feel that most of you have already been there in the previous sessions, and you must be aware of all these aspects. But as a protocol, since it's called protocol slides, so as a protocol we have to cover these slide again and again. And the intent is that a new learner can join in any of these sessions right from week 1 to week 12. So, for the benefit of those learners who are joining in for the first time, we'll be going through these slide deck in our each and every session. So, the live sessions are there to help you in the current run of course, and we discuss and solve week specific assignments. So, what we exactly mean by week specific assignments is that since today we are discussing the week 10 content, so we'll be having questions of sample questions for week 10 itself. And the idea is to help you prepare better for your final examinations, right? It's not about evaluating yourself or evaluating you, but these set of 10 questions which we discuss in each and every session, these are primarily to help you prepare for your final examination. So I am not marking, we are not marking in these sessions. These are primarily aimed at helping you evaluate how well you have seen the course, how well you have absorbed the insights from the course. And since it is week specific, you don't have to give a lot of load to your head. It is right prior to 1 week the content, and we have to address those questions, right? So please keep in mind that these set of 10 questions which we ask every week, it's not about evaluating you, it's about helping you prepare for your final examinations. You'll be able to see what are the different types of questions asked, how the questions are formatted, the different typology of questions, how through fill in the blanks you can actually frame questions, how through the statements the questions can be made, right? And you never know, from these 10 questions, you might get a question in your final exam as well, right? So it's very important that you go through these set of 10 questions. Many of you might have had a difficulty in joining these sessions, but then these sessions are recorded and the presentations is uploaded every time in a shared location where each and every learner can access, and so you can utilize all those accessible resources, which you'll also see by the course ends today itself. What are those repositories, what are those buttons wherein you can find more data, more learning material, so that you can prepare well, right? And we respond to the questions and queries. So whatever questions you will be having, we'll be addressing them. We'll also do the content recap of the ongoing week. The idea is that we help you in recovering and recollecting what has been shared as a module content in that week. And it's basically a visual summary wherein we keep the snapshots. You can also call it screenshots of the video module content. Right? So during the live sessions, we expect everyone to follow certain ethics, certain decorum, and we request everyone to keep their mic on mute. And the reason is very simple and straightforward. We are recording these sessions and we don't want any unnecessary disturbances in the video, so that it is clear, it is audible to all our members who are, listening to it after the session has been conducted through the repository. And you can always unmute yourself to speak if you have any questions, or if we are asking you to respond to the questions. Although you can also respond to the questions by the chat box, so which is also fine. If you don't want to speak, that is also fine. You can just key in, type in the correct answer which you think is for that question, and we'll be discussing those questions and answers, right? Um, if you have any questions pertaining to the overall course, it could be some question which has not been marked correctly, or it could be something related to your hall ticket or admit card. You can pose these questions in the discussion forum. If it is in the purview of me, I'll be addressing it in within 1 to 2 working days. But if it is something related to the technical side, the technical aspects, then we also have NPTEL members, and we can request them to please help us in those regard. So all the enrolled learners are also there in this forum. Their NPTEL members are there, and me as a TA is also level. So whenever a question is posted, we all get notified. And whenever I reply to a question, then again all stakeholders are notified. So I think discussion forum is a very interesting platform and functionality offered by the NPTEL team. And you can utilize this by clicking here, which is the Ask a Question tab. Okay. Now, as I mentioned that all these sessions are being recorded, so you'll be able to find all the videos at this location. And in fact, all the PPTs which I present are converted into PDF version and they are uploaded in the drive. So both these aspects are basically present in a spreadsheet. You might find it difficult to understand how it is present in a spreadsheet, but I'll show it to you. So the first thing is that how do you access these both files? So there is something called as problem solving session, and if you click here, this will be opened up. And when you click here, it will lead you to a page which will say click here. So there are a couple of repetitive clicks, but then you'll be landing on a spreadsheet location. And this spreadsheet location basically has content week wise. So you'll be finding rows and columns, and for every week, you'll be finding a YouTube link. Okay. However, all the presentations are uploaded as PDFs, and it is at a common shared location. So that is so cells are merged. So we merge the cell, and since it's just one location, you'll get that link from the repository, right? There are a few other columns which includes my name, my serial number, along with the number of students who have actually attended those sessions. So these numbers vary a lot, from starting till the end. As we are approaching the end, the number has gone down. But that's how the pattern has been in the past few years as well, right? So we do understand that students, whether it is students or professionals, or educators, all of them have their work commitments, and they have prior engagements. They might be having examination, homework assignment, and that is where this entire thought of having a common repository of problem solving session had come in to the picture, wherein we upload everything, and whenever there is a conveyance of the learner, whosoever it is can actually access all these repositories, all these PPTs, folders, content at their own pace and at their own. What do you mean by at their own pace? Because since these are YouTube sessions, so you can actually play back, you can vary the playback speed, you can speed it up, you can slow it down, and as per your comfort, you can manage that content consumption, right? Okay. I think everybody is now aware of this particular slide, but let me just highlight the critical ones. Uh, we are at week 10, which is today, 29th of March. And then we'll be having week 11 and week 12. I'll be giving the dates as well. Just give me a minute. Uh, yeah. So 5th April will be our week 11, and April will be right. And we also plan to have one extra session, which is one extra 1 hour session, and that probably we'll be having 19th is the expected date, but it could be between 19 to maybe 20 as well. We'll decide upon it. I mean, I'm not sure whether it would be 19th or 20th. Maybe 20th. Okay. It will be 1 hour session, and which will be primarily aimed at your examination. Okay. So you'll be sharing some do's and don'ts, what works, what is preferable, and it can actually help you in your final examination. So it will be a 1 hour session. Typically, these are all 2 hours each. This will be like for 1 hour. Uh, the format will be more or less same, but then we'll be having few slides which will cover certain aspects of do's and don'ts for your uh, physical examination. What do you mean by physical examination? Which means that on 27th of April, which is the tentative examination date, in either of the two slots, we'll be going to a venue. Since it's an offline examination. So you'll be offered with the hall ticket, also called as the admit card. And once you have it, it will be having all the details about your venue, the timing of examinations, the other details, and you'll be going to that particular city. So whatever preferred city choices you would have, filled in, one of that will be assigned to you, and you'll be visiting that for your final examination. Here we are discussing and seeing the progress tab. Um, Up till previous year, it primarily comprised of these two, which was unit-wise progress and assessment scores. If you have been submitting the assignments, you wouldn't clear about what do you mean by these. So, just for those who are not aware, unit-wise progress is how much content you are going through, you are reading. So the blue part highlights the content covered, and the gray part highlights the content which has been not seen, not covered. Okay. And likewise, assessment scores are basically scores of your week wise assignment. So you've been submitting it just after the deadline of the assignment, you will get those scores. So, say for example, if the deadline is today, probably tomorrow you'll be able to see your scores for the previous weeks, right? And they have recently added this thing, which is the grading and certification policy. However, we have been covering this in our protocol slides. So you don't have to worry. These details are there with us. Just in case you have not seen it, you can see it here. If you have missed this out, you can be uh, having a look at the protocol slide then. So it is not something that you'll miss. Right? It is present in both the ways. Whichever is convenient for you, you can actually follow it. Then comes the examination certificate. So anybody who wants to learn about the course, it's completely free from them. You just have to enroll using your Gmail ID. But if you want to gain a certificate, that requires the registration, which was around 1000 rupees per examination. It also had a late fee concept, and the last date has already gone by. It was till March 3, which was the extended timeline. Another deadline. All right. There are also fee waivers under the category of SCST and PWD. So if you belong to that category and if you support and validate that with your certificate, you'll be eligible for the 50% fee waiver. Now comes the criteria to gain a certificate. I request you to please go through this slide. Even if you have gone through it multiple times, as you're aware that we are doing it for the protocol slide deck part, we'll be going through it once again. So I would request you to please read it and we'll explain with an example. Okay. So there are two components, internals and externals, and they sum to become your overall score. Now, internals are basically your week-wise assignments. So you have got week 1 to week 12. So you have got 12 assignments. Of that 12 assignments, best 8 are utilized to generate a weightage out of 25%. Okay. So 25% weightage is given to your internals. External, since it's an offline examination, you'll be visiting a center. It has more weightage. It is a proctored examination. Proctoring means there are invigilators who are around in the rooms and they are basically taking care of the conduct of the examination, right? So that your overall score is 100%, right? Now the catch here is about the underlying logics, okay? So which means that you have to score more than 10 out of 25, more than 30 out of 75, so that your score is more than 40 out of 100. All right. Now let's take few scenarios to understand, what can be the tricky situations. So let's take the first scenario, which is the ideal use case. You scored 15, you scored 35, your overall score is. So you've got marks more than 10, you've got marks more than 30, your overall score is more than 40. It's an ideal use case. Obviously, we would expect you to gain better marks. This is just one for the example. So the ideal use case means that you're meeting all the criteria. Perfect. Okay. Let's go to scenario 2. And which means you score around 20 marks here. Okay. And you score 25 marks here. And your overall score is 45. So you are meeting this criteria more than 40, you are meeting this criteria more than 10, but you are not meeting this criteria. which is less than 30 marks. So will not get certificate. Another scenario is wherein you scored 5 out of 25, but here you scored 60 out of 75. Your score is 65 out of 75, but you're meeting this criteria, you're meeting this criteria, but you are not meeting this criteria because your score is less than 10. So here also you will not get certificate. So I hope these aspects are clear. We'll proceed to the next. Okay. So this is how we have progressed from week 1 to week 4, and then 4 to 8 and 8 to 12 we will be progressing. We started with the very basics of entrepreneurship, uh, towards handholding of entrepreneurship, followed by the methodology for entrepreneurship, and then the case study part. So case study part was always there, whether it is through additional learning materials, or through various examples of Palki for Vaishno Devi, story of animal, or the solar one case study of Mr. Avinash. So case study have been quite a backbone of this course because it helps us gain more knowledge, more understanding. Then comes the journey from week 5 to week 8, which start with the medtech success stories, then towards the human centered innovation, followed by humanizing technology, and then understanding the various support systems like the Sign Incubator, the success story of Atomberg, which is an IIT Bombay alumni startup. And you'll see in that story that Mr. Manoj Meena is telling, where he had attempted several startup ideas, and after exploring all of them, pivoting them, he finally reached the Atomberg, which was about. They started with the product category of fans, wherein they found that fans have been made in a certain way since a long period of time, and so they came up with a very interesting BLDC motor fans, which reduced the sound and increased the efficiency and made tremendous disruptions in the Indian fan industry. So that's a very interesting case study which you would want to see. Then comes our final leg, the last set of 4 sessions, wherein people from ID Hyderabad, ETIC, CFHE shared, which included Professor Renu John and Mr. Surya, talking about them. And then we had week 10, which is the content which we'll be discussing today. It started from corporate to entrepreneurship, creative ideation, which was taken up by Professor V.K. Chakravarti sir. And then you'll see, I mean, Ashok Palwalkar sir is also there, who's talking about and talking with the back design group, right? So there are two typology of questions which you'll be finding out, wherein one correct answer is there, which is the radio button questions. On the right hand side, what you see is basically the multi select questions, which means that there are multiple correct answers in this question. So either I can just have one option of eating aloo or gobi or mixed paratha, but I can add multiple items by multi selecting. Sorry. Okay. Now comes the marking for multiple questions, multiple choice questions. I would request you to please give a time, give a couple of minutes to read it, and we'll take an example and we'll proceed with the slide and make you and help you understand it better. Okay. Just take a couple of minutes and understand. All right, I believe everybody would have read these 3 pointers, and let's take an example. I'll take the example from the previous week itself. Thank you. All right. So we have a question here, and so which among the following are the major attractions of Singapore? The options are Garden of Five Senses, Gardens by the Bay, Sentosa Island, and Mandai Zoo. All right. So the correct answers for this question are Gardens by the Bay, Sentosa Island, and Mandai. Garden of Five Senses is primarily in India. It's located in Delhi. All right. So it's the incorrect answer. Got it? Now let's take the options and the pointers one by one. So the point one says if all the options chosen by the student are correct and no incorrect answer has been chosen, then the full marks are awarded. Okay. So if you see here, if I select B, C, and D, and if I submit, I'll get full marks. All right. Let's read scenario two. If at least one incorrect answer has been chosen, then no marks. So if I select A, B, C, A, C, D, or A, B, D, although I'm choosing these as the correct ones, but I'm also choosing A, which is not the correct answer, which means no marks. And let's take the third scenario. It says if only correct answers are chosen, but not all correct answers have been chosen, then partial marks proportional to the number of correct answers are awarded. So now, for example, if I select B, C, D, right, I'll get full marks. है ना? All the correct answers have been chosen. However, if I select B, C, C, D, or B, D, or if I just select B, C, or D individually, I might get 0.66, I might get 0.33. So these are the marks in decimals and these are proportional marking. Considering the question is out of 1 marks. Correct? So that is how the proportionate marking works. So in case you are getting marks in decimal, it is for this particular logic. And these are the underlying logic of it. Right? So you need to be aware because that will help you make judicious and thoughtful choices while you are deciding. Okay. Now here comes the very interesting slide, and so we have these people who have been there in the previous week, and a couple of them are here today as well. So thank you so much for being there, for joining every time, for being patient, for being a good learner, by showing your consistency every week, and by participating and engaging in these sessions through the question answer sessions, which will be soon starting. So let me just write congratulations. Okay, so congratulations for your consistency. Consistency is very important. in every aspect of life, if you're consistent, there's no reason you won't achieve success, right? So even startup people, entrepreneurs, for them, consistency is very, very critical. Uh, All right. Now here we start the content recap. It will be a little long journey, but it's more like a visual summary. So we won't be taking a lot discussing it. But the idea is that you just have a look at it, and it will trigger all the content, all the modules which you have gone through this week. So it will help you and recollecting those content, and maybe it will be helpful for you to answer the questions, the set of 10 questions, right? So with that in mind, let's start the content recap. So here in this content, we had Mr. Ashok Panvalkar, who had been from an alumni of the IDC School of Design, and he worked quite a lot at Philips Electronics, and he's the founder of 3F Designs with a vision of making people happy. Now, making people happy is a very interesting vision, and I believe that everyone is looking for happiness, and this has been taken care by the products which Mr. Ashok had been lined up at his 3F studios. So this is his retail store in Pune, and you will see the different typology of products which he has in his retail store. So these are funny and unusual gifts. So if you are in Pune, if you are in Maharashtra, if you're traveling to Pune, do give a visit. Just have a look. Okay. So these are some of the products which he has. Just to give you an idea, what type of products they are. These are all quirky, unusual product designs, and they do have a website as well. So if you are unable to visit, then obviously there are digital channels by which you can uh, get these products. So 3F stands for fun, form, and function. All these are critical terms, especially for designers. And a question might come from there as well about the 3F aspect. And then he talks about the pester power, which is about the ability of children to pressurize their parents into buying them products, especially items advertised in the media, right? So, all those who are parents, and I'm as well a young parent, and I completely agree with this kind of power of children, wherein, they will lie down on the floor, they'll start crying, they will do all sorts of tantrums and every activities just to get a particular thing, which they might not even continue to use more than 10 15 minutes. So it's a very strong power, and as a parent, it's very hard to resist that, because once you become a parent, you will realize all these aspects very soon. Going further, these are the wooden toys of Sawantwadi in Maharashtra, and he talked about the India Toy Fair and the Toycathon which had happened, and then comes the spoon design exercise which Professor Chakravarti had given to a student, and he asked them to use creative analogies, for diverse ideation. And then he says, so this is how the brief was to design a spoon for 2 to 5 year old child. So a lot of ideas were generated, and then these ideas were combined into form concepts, three concepts, and then not really. I mean, it first goes to the cluster formation. From the cluster formation, it goes to cluster representatives, which has the features from all the different ideas, and then they develop it into a concept. So you can see here how the material variation are present. It's a typical process in a product design activity wherein you are given a line wire followed by a planar surface, different materials, and then coming on to a mock-up, which is more of a three-dimension form. And this is about how the enacting is being done with the mock-up, which is about how the product will be used in the real life environment. And these are a few prototypes which have been developed by the students. All of them had different briefs, different areas. And then came Professor Kumarasan, and he was heading the proof of concept lab at IDCIT Bombay, which aims to encourage students to work on physical prototypes. And you can see all of them working on different materials, bamboo, and bicycles, drones. And he mentioned a very important point that you should very much communicate to your clients or whosoever is actually looking at your prototype is that these are not final design and it is a stage thing, right? These are the various examples he has said. I talked about the new product development and the importance of prototyping. What are the different types of prototyping which can be used, and how basically it helps in the design process by saving time, money, and effort. So here is the different types of prototyping: idea prototype, scale and working prototype, and different types of prototyping methods. Additive is wherein you are adding material. It's similar to 3D printing. Then you have subtractive method wherein you are subtracting the material like PFOam, styrofoam, thermocol as well. And then the forming methods like styrene and rubber. So here comes Professor Anil Gupta. He's from the IIM Ahmedabad. And Mr. Ramikade, who's been working alongside Professor Gupta. And they are from the Honeybee Network. And he also gave a very interesting story about this particular logo. Of initially this didn't had a logo, and then the professor Faraday just stood up, added that point, and then the entire story was made that how a faceless, nameless person joins the network and gains an identity, right? So very very interesting, thought process, logo tagline, and perfect, perfect. I think it's a very interesting work of how thought process design comes together and the kind of each and every element play. So if you can see, there are hexagons. Since it's a honeybee network, so it's inspired by the honeybee, and then people are connecting together, joining this network, and gaining identity. So it was founded in approximately 37 years back, right? And yeah, behaving like an entrepreneur, as we were saying at the very beginning, that the tendency is about taking risk, looking at opportunities, sticking out the neck, and doing things differently. So these are the various grassroots movements: Srishti Gyan, National Innovation Foundation, I autopieces. A question might come on this aspect as well, which is about the liberty of a design to improve with usage. And he said that surprise is a very necessary condition of learning, right? Even when you are designing a product, we look for delight factor. That's also something close to a surprise factor. That if a product has a surprise element to it, it brings more joy, more enriched experience to the users. Then he gave certain examples. It's Mansukh Bhai Prajapati from the Mitti Pool, and yes, the different models. This is Dharamveer ji, who also could be seen in the video content, and Mr. Nishi Biswas, who was working on the rice paddy transplanter. And then this is a very important aspect, show the yatras. So I'll just give a small time onto it. Those who are not aware of it, so every year they conduct this show the yatra, and they visit hot places in the summer, cold places in the winter. And the idea is to go through the suffering of the people, inconveniences, empathize with them, understand them, and then also learn the traditional methods which they use for their various challenges, right? So let me just try to give you a glimpse of the show the yatra as well. And so anybody can join in. You have to write an application, and you can actually be a part of this learning. It's available in the this website, and like they say, summer and winter, so it happens twice in a year. And if you are inclined toward grassroots innovation, and it would be one of a learning experience. So a lot of people take part in it, and so the 52nd Shodhya Yatra was happened in Katihar. So if you see, it's a week journey, which usually takes place, right? So if you hear, you'll read about what Shodhya Yatra is. Shodhya Yatra is to undertake a journey for the search of knowledge, creativity, innovations at the grassroots. Shodhya Yatra is an attempt on the part of Honeybee Network to reach out to the most remote part of the country with a firm belief that the hardship and challenges of natural surroundings are prime motivators of creativity and innovations. Shodhayatra aims to at unearthing such traditional knowledge and grassroots innovation. It's also a journey of mutual exchange and sharing of knowledge, right? So very interesting aspect, very interesting experience. It also tells about what kind of walk it is. It's roughly 250 kilometers in a span of 7 to 8 days, and they decide upon the travel route. They do a lot of work before starting with the yatra, and you can see certain images of the show the yatras. So let's see this, the 49th one. So you can read about it, and you'll get to know more information about it. Okay, just give me a minute. हेलो। हाँ भाई। घर पे यार हमारी एनपीटीईएल क्लास चल रही है। घर पे ही है लेकिन। आ जाओ ले लो, शायद नीचे खड़ी हुई ले लो नीचे से। ठीक है। ओके। Let's go back. So you can have a look at it. The detailed view of the people. See, they are sitting down trying to. He's Professor Al Gupta. You can see a lot of people sitting down here trying to understand what's happening. So these are the images. They are sitting down every week trying to hear the people, see what innovations they are having. See, they're walking around, seeing. Very interesting. It's very rich. It's although it's not that easy. Sitting here and looking at it, it may appear it's quite easy, no big deal. But then uh, going down there and experiencing that is a different experience in itself. Right. Okay. Let's go back. Let's go back to our journey once again. Yeah. And he says that we need to learn from our four teachers: the teacher within, the teacher among the peers, teacher among the common people, and teacher in the nature. And these are some of their offerings. Example of Murugesan, who has employed a lot of women workers for their banana fiber products. Right. So now we come here to our first question, and it's almost 1 hour. I would say that you can take a quick break and come back quickly. However, I have opened up this question so you can take time and let me know what is the correct answer. So let's take a 5 minute break, and we'll continue with our question answer set of question answers. Right. So we'll take a quick 5 minute break and we'll continue with this question. Okay. So I'll just pause my video and audio, and yeah. Right. Welcome back, all of you. I believe everybody's back. And let's see if there have been any choices, votes for this particular question. We have got one vote for option B. All right. Anyone else who has shared any opinion? The question is about, as discussed in Module 10, 3F designs have wide range of dash. And the options are: 3F designs have electrical appliances, unusual quirky products, automotive designs, and computer accessories. So, if you remember, this was about 3Fs, which is fun, form, and function. So, there could be a question on this aspect as well. So, please note it down somewhere about what do you mean by the 3Fs in this particular thing, and it is by Mr. Ashok Panwalkar. Okay, so he is basically the founder of this particular startup after having a long time at Philips. Okay, so what kind of products are present in 3F designs? We have given you clues. We have given you clues in the content recap. Right, we have given you a lot of clues in that uh, content recap. So if you remember, it was a small store at Pune, and he also told about the challenges initially where it was located, and then it was shifted to a place where the college students were a lot of them, right? And how that impacted the sales of the products from Clear Designs, right? So let's do the screen validation. So it has wide range of unusual and quirky products. So if you see, there is a skull here, and it's basically a glass. It's very unusual. And then it is a short glass wherein, it's a ring kind of a thing which will rotate, and whatever comes up, one has to act upon that. So the correct answer is unusual and quirky products, which is the option B. So I think it is very well suggested by one of the learners. It's option B. 3F designs have unusual and quirky products. Right. I hope everybody will remember. And please also remember the 3F full form, which is about fun, form, and function. Alright. And their vision as well. है ना? अब 3F से बहुत सारे क्वेश्चंस आ सकते हैं. One could be full form, one could be the vision. Vision is to make people happy. All right. So a question can come here as well. What is the vision of 3F? To make people happy. Okay. So you've got three questions. You now know about three questions from just one question. All right. Great. Let's proceed to a second question. What is the honeybee network and what does it do? It's a network of beekeepers who share best practices, platform that connects entrepreneurs with investors only, a magazine that publishes articles about innovation, and an ecosystem that helps grassroots innovators bring their ideas to reality. So, if you tell me about what does Honeybee do exactly? So basically the question is, what does Honeybee network do? So that's the question. Honeybee network क्या करता है? Honeybee network करता क्या है? Okay. क्या, is it a network of beekeepers? Huh? There are bees. to share best practices. It's a platform that connects entrepreneurs with the investors. Is it a matchmaking platform like that, or is it a magazine? It's a publication, or is it an ecosystem that helps grassroots innovators bring ideas into reality? We've got one vote for option D, and let's just wait if others would like to say or share their perspective. Anyone else? Honeybee network की बात हो रही है, and we are trying to understand what activities does it do or what is Honeybee network. Let's take a minute more and then we'll start. Okay, fine, fine. Let's do the screen validation. So it's contributing. So, by the way, all of these are contributing. The Honeybee network is here. Then you have Srishti, you have Gyan, and then you have NIF, which is the National Innovation Foundation. So, all of them are contributing to the grassroots innovation movement. All of them, which includes the Honeybee network, right? Which includes this along with all these. So, even if a question comes with these options, then probably you can select all of them. Okay, because all of them are contributing to the grassroots innovation. So the correct answer, as mentioned by one of the learners, is that it is an ecosystem that helps grassroots innovators to bring ideas into reality. So it's the correct option, option D. So I believe one of the learners has mentioned option D. Yeah, perfect, perfect. Well done. Now let's come to our third question. According to Professor Ashok Panvalkar, dash is the ability of the children to pressurize their parents into buying them products. What is it? Is it the emotional power, superpower, pester power, or pressurizing power? Okay, that's very quick. We have got one vote for option C as well. Okay, we have given sufficient time to this. I think we discussed this while we were doing the content recap as well. But let us wait for others to confirm to it. According to Professor Ashok, what is the ability of the children that pressurizes their parents into buying them products? क्या ये इमोशनल पावर है, सुपर पावर है, पेस्टर पावर है या प्रेशराइजिंग पावर है? It is the ability of children to pressurize their parents into buying them products, especially younger kids. Okay, younger kids, children. So this he mentioned when he was discussing with the school backpack group. He mentioned about this. Okay. Let's do the screen validation. Perfect. Well done. Tester power is the ability of children to pressurize their parents into buying them products, especially items advertised in the media. Okay. Now here it is saying especially items advertised in the media. All right. So the correct answer is Fester power, which is option C, as correctly mentioned by one of the learners. Okay, I think these are quite direct questions and great that learners are able to respond to it. Probably they've gone through the content well enough. I'm also hoping the questions are not that tough. These are the direct ones. But still, let's proceed to our question number 4. As mentioned by Professor Kumaresan in module 10, design never dash, it keeps on dash. Okay. So it's a statement, right? And there are two blanks to it. This is the blank one and this is the blank two. So you need to tell again, Professor Kumaresan is who? He's from the POC lab. What do you mean by POC lab? A question might come there. Proof of concept lab and ID Bombay IDC. Okay. So he was the in charge there. So the options are design never ends, it keeps on evolving. Design never starts, it keeps on changing. Design never is meaningful, it keeps on meaningless. And design never evolves, it keeps on challenging. Okay. So if you see here, like option C is not fitting in well in itself. Okay. Design never is meaningful, it keeps on meaningless. So yeah, it's grammatically also it is not fitting well. Okay, so this is not an option, anyways. Design never evolves, it keeps on challenging. Now, this again is a little tricky one. I mean, this is not also fitting, and I mean, you are not able to get a meaningful sentence out of it. So, this option is not correct. We got one vote for option A. Let's see the vote. Design never starts, it keeps on changing. So that doesn't mean anything. Design has to start somewhere. It's a design process. One of the stages of the design process is like that only. So you have to start, you have to begin the design somewhere, right? So there has to be a starting point, correct? It keeps on changing. So changing is fine. Design can change, design can evolve. So evolve is a better word rather than change, right? Evolve हो सकता है design. Change is not the right word. Okay. So evolving is better and then design never starts. Starts का कोई meaning नहीं है. The meaning is that it never ends because it is an iterative process. With the new technology, obviously there will be a new design. है ना? जितना हम thin होते जाएंगे, चीजें बदलती जाएगी. Right. Let's do the screen validation. Design never ends, it keeps on evolving. And if you see here, he gave this example of iMac. Wherein if you see, this is the form factor, it was so bulky. But with technology, things started to become sleek and thinner. And then if you see here, it's all about minimalism, sleek, thin. All right. So we are not saying that design has ended here at this stage or at this stage or at this stage. It is evolving, right? As you are proceeding further with new technologies, new chips, right? You are able to produce a different design. You are able to produce a more evolved version, which is more effective, more usable, more energy efficient, more sustainable, right? So it never ends, it keeps on evolving. So the correct answer is option A, which is it never ends, it keeps on evolving. I think that was the option. Yes, well done, well done. So design never ends, it keeps on evolving. Okay, perfect, perfect. Now we are halfway down the line. We have the question number 5, which is as mentioned by Professor Kumaresan in module 10, the various types of prototyping. What are the various types of prototyping? Is it the idea prototyping? Is it the scale prototyping? Is it the working prototyping? Or is it the nano prototyping? You have to tell me the various types of prototyping. Okay? What are the various types of prototyping? As per Professor Kumaresan, who is from very Bombay. We have got one vote for option A and one vote for option D. All right. Yes, it's a multi-select question, which means there are multiple correct answers. Okay. So you need to give a little more time to it. Professor Kumaresan, what are the various types of prototyping? We have already covered in the content recap as well. We have covered this in the content recap. Is it the idea prototyping? Is it the scale prototyping? Is it the working prototyping? Or is it the nano prototyping? Take a minute, think about it. It's not something which will come to your mind directly. It's something which is very specific to the week-wise content. So you have to recall what was talked about in that particular module by Professor Kumaresan, and you'll be able to understand because there could be multiple questions, especially in the prototyping aspects. If you remember, there were information about what are the methods of prototyping, and then there is this question about types of prototypes. Both are different. So methods, if you remember, it talked about additive. So we're talking about methods of prototyping. So method was about additive, subtractive, forming, right? But here we are talking about types. Little different. Okay. Okay. Let's do the screen validation. All right. So here the answers are first one is idea prototyping, which includes crude prototypes, quick and dirty prototypes, proof of concepts, and rigs. Second thing is scale prototypes, which are look-alike prototypes or mock-ups. And the third one is working prototypes, which are functional prototypes and pilots. So these are the options. You've got idea prototypes, you've got scale prototypes, which includes mockups, and then you've got working prototypes, which includes functional prototypes. All right. So the correct answer, if you see for the question number 5, is idea prototyping, scale prototyping, and working prototyping are basically the various types of prototyping. All right. So he talks about three broad types of prototyping: idea, scale, and working. So please remember, and also remember the what it encompasses. Okay, scale prototypes also is about mockups. Functional prototype is also about functional prototypes. Idea prototypes is also about POC prototypes, quick and dirty prototypes, crude prototypes. Okay, so you might have questions on this aspect as well. Okay, so keep a note of it, and you might get a question from here. Let's come to our sixth question. As mentioned by Miss Anamika, under dash, small loans at very low interest rate were provided without any collaterals. And if the innovators tried and failed, it was converted into a grant. What type of fund was it? Was it market venture instant fund, macro venture instant fund, micro venture innovation fund, and mini venture intellectual fund? Got one vote for option A. All right. So remember who is Miss Anamika Day? Miss Anamika Day is associated with Gyan and working alongside Professor Anil Gupta. And she talked about this fund in which small loans were provided, not big loans. The small loans were provided to the people without any collaterals. What do you mean by that? So now if you go to a bank and if you want to take a loan, you have to give something as a collateral. You have to mention your assets. It could be your home, it could be your car, or other things. So those collaterals have to be mentioned. Reason being that if you are unable to pay the loan, then the bank can recover from these assets or collaterals. There has to be some more. Now, you're taking a loan of 40 lakhs. So the bank will say that, okay, tell us what assets you have, what as a collateral you can give. So one can give, one might be having farmlands, one might be having his home all over, and if it is close to that value, then that can be kept as a collateral. So if you're unable to pay the loan, then probably that can be taken by the bank as a recovery model. Okay, so you would have seen a lot of these things in news as well, that the bank recovery agents, they kind of pursue people to give it back, right? So, however, these people from Gyan, they realize that these are marginal workers and they are trying to do something to address the challenges they are facing. So they came up with a very different model of providing small loans, not very big loans, at a very low interest rate, without any collateral. So they don't have to say or mention that they have 3 cows, 10 cows, or this much of farmland. And they also added a very interesting point that if even if the innovators failed, but they need to have sufficient proof that they tried. And if they failed, it was converted into a grant. So grant amount is such that you don't have to give it back to them. So a loan is something that you have to return, right? If you're taking loan from somebody, you will have to return it. Okay. But if it becomes a grant, then that liability of returning something will go away. Okay. So that is the difference between loan and a grant. In loan, you have to return. Grant may, there is no return. So that is what they are saying. Initially, it is a loan and then it's converted into a grant. All right. I hope this thing is understandable. Let me just have a quick look at. Okay. You put what class? All right. All right. Okay. So let's see the screen validation. It is micro venture innovation fund. Okay. Micro is like very small, chota or chota. Okay. Micro venture innovation fund. MVIF. So there could be a question that as per Ms. Anamika De or as per the offerings by Gyan, what is the full form of MVIF, which is Micro Venture Innovation Fund. All right. Small loans at very low interest rate without any collateral or obligant. If the innovators tried and failed, it turns into a grant. So that's such a flexibility that they've given to the people who are trying to innovate. Right. So the correct answer of this question is C. So as mentioned by Miss Anamika, under MVIF, which is Micro Venture Innovation Fund, small loans at very low interest rates were provided without any collateral, and if innovators tried and failed, it was converted into a grant. So it is MVIF. Now let's come to our seventh question. According to Module 10, Sri Mansukh Bhai Prajapati. Mansukh Bhai Prajapati is associated with dash making clay products. You have to tell Mansukh Bhai Prajapati is associated with what? Is he associated with Fab India, Mitti Cool, fruit juicer, and mixer grinder? So Professor Anil Gupta mentions about him in the presentation. You have to tell कि Mansukh Bhai Prajapati is associated with what? So the hint is making clay products. That is the hint given. That is a very big hint. Got one vote for Fab India. Okay. So Mansukh Bhai Prajapati is associated with which of these? These includes Fab India, Mitti Cool, fruit juicer, mixer grinder. So these are appliances. Mitti Cool is a company. Fab India is another company. So there are two options of company, two options of appliances. Now it's a single correct answer question. Okay, single correct answer. So the first thing you have to decide is whether you should go for product or you should go for company. And then you can actually guess what is the correct answer. Okay. So give a thought to it. Give it some time. You're talking about making clay products, right? Clay products. So that is a big hint. Okay. So the question was about what what is Mansukh Prajapati associated with? Okay. Now, if you remember, Mansukh Prajapati is associated with dash, and the hint given is making clay. Now, clay in Hindi is called mitti, mitti, mati. Okay. Clay in Hindi is called mitti. Okay. So the first thing is that making a fruit juicer and a mixer grinder with clay is little challenging. है ना? Clay as a material is very different. It is very challenging. It's not that it's not possible. It's very challenging. Okay, because in a fruit juicer you require a lot of things, right? And the juice when interacts with mitti might make not well. It might not be very well for consumption. Now the hint lies in this mitti. Now, clay in India, as I've said, it's called Mitti, and this brand is called Mitti Coal. So that is a very direct hint. But let us see from the screen validation. Okay. So he is Mansukh Bhai Prajapati. Okay, this guy, he is Mansukh Bhai Prajapati. Mhm. His dream child, Mitti Cool, is an attempt towards connecting mankind more irrevocably with clay and soil. He's already paving the way for Mitti Cool to go both national as well as international. Though some traces of clay products can be still seen in some parts of core India, but time has made its memories fade in the population's mind. Mr. Prajapati aims to refresh these memories and remind people about the benefits and uses of clay products. Originally hailing from Gujarat, today Mansukh Prajapati is a successful entrepreneur who relished the idea of modernizing the knowledge that the craftsmen of this country carry. But who can imagine him being a boy who was initially working at a tea stall? Soon he ditched the tea stall to work in a factory, but all along he really dreamed of creating his own machine like tawa, flat iron plates used for making bread with clay. Okay, so that is his journey of Mr. Prajapati, and these are the different products. So Mitti Cool has around 18 to 20 outlets, and he has this Mitti Cool as a refrigerator, water filters. This is really popular. It's the refrigerator. And if you see, he recently visited IIT Roorkee and along with his wife. And this is me here. I had the privilege of meeting him, having a picture clicked. So that was the privilege we had while he was here at IIT Roorkee. And he's a very noble man, very down to earth. And he spoke his heart out. And it was very nice to learn from him, to understand from him. Okay. So the correct answer for this question is, according to module 10, Sri Mansukh Prajapati is associated with Mitti Ko. Okay. Shall we proceed? All right. Now comes our eighth question. According to Professor V.K. Chakravarti, sir, why is there a need to learn systematic idea generation as discussed in module 10? So we are talking about SIG, systematic idea generation. Options are so that you do not miss any important concept, so that you do not miss any important idea, so that you do not miss any important feature of the final concept, so that you do not miss any important business pitch. So it's a little tricky one. Uh, Take some time and let me know what could be the correct answer. We're talking about why is there a need to learn systematic idea generation, and these are your options. So take some time. Let me know what could be the correct answer. We're talking about systematic idea generation and what is the need. But one vote for option A, which is so that you do not miss any important concept. All right. The other options are you do not miss any important idea, you do not miss any important feature of the final concept, and you don't miss any important business pitch. Okay. You have to tell what and why is there a need to learn systematic idea generation as per Professor Chakravarti. And your options are right in front of you. We have got one vote for option A. Let's go and see the screen validation now. Okay. Now, if you see here, this is the brief, and first you generate idea. So idea generation is the first step. Second step is the cluster formation. You have got three clusters, one, two, three, and then you are trying to make a cluster one representative, and then you are trying to make cluster one idea development, so that you are trying to imbibe the features of all and then refining it to make your first concept. All right. So you start with the brief. Let's say it's point zero. You generate lots and lots of ideas. So these are your ideas, different ideas. Okay. Now you're trying to group them, grouping them. So cluster is also about making groups. Group one, group two, group three, clusters. Okay. It's like making groups. Yes. So this type of cluster may be some background thing with the wide spout or with a different handle or all the different ones in other groups. So you have made clusters. Now you take one, and from all of them, you just take one, and then you start adding the features of the other in that one, so that it starts transforming, and then it becomes your concept one. So this is the entire process. Now, what's happening is that through this process, you are enabling every feature of these designs have a value in the final design. Each and every feature is being translated in the design and in your final concept. All right. So, which means that you do not miss any important feature of the final concept. That is the power of systematic idea generation, right? Systematic idea generation. So you have ideas, first step, then you group those ideas, you make clusters. From the clusters, you take one idea and you add features of all those ideas so that it starts transforming. Now this becomes your concept one. So it has all the features of all those within the cluster, the elements. Okay. So the intent is that you do not miss any important feature of the final concept. Option C is your correct answer. Okay. Now let's come to your ninth question. According to Professor Anil Gupta, dash is a necessary condition for learning. सीखने के लिए एक बहुत वो महत्वपूर्ण कंडीशन है. वो क्या है? Is it the surprise, suffering, accident, or none of the above? What is the necessary condition of for learning? Give it some thought. I'll be back. So, according to Professor Anil Gupta, what is the necessary condition for learning? The options were surprise, suffering, accident, and none of the above. So, we have got one vote for option A, and we have not got any further votes to it. Let's see the screen validation. Surprise is a necessary condition for learning. The day you are not surprised, you are not lived. Always look for surprises. So that's the correct answer. Surprise is the necessary condition for learning. Well done. Perfect. So the option A is correct for question number 9. And then we reach to our last question, which is question number 10. As mentioned by Professor Kumaresan in module 10, why is it important for designers to develop prototype? Now we have got another question on the prototype. If you remember, the previous question was about types of prototype, right? Now the question is about why is it important for designers to develop prototype? Why do we even develop them? Types तो बात की बात है, right? Why do we even develop them? The options are to save time, money, and effort. समय, पैसा और मेहनत. To communicate new ideas to the people involved, to file for patents. So here comes the IPR. And to prove new technology and business models. So it's required for proving new technology and business models that it might work. Okay. So it's a little tricky question. But then it is explicitly mentioned in one of the lecture sessions. Why is it important for designers to develop a prototype? Prototype की आवश्यकता क्यों है? Okay, we've got the votes. We've got one vote for this A, one vote for this, and one vote for this. First one is to save time, money, and effort, to communicate new ideas to the people involved, to file for patents, and to prove new technologies to the business models. First relates with the time, effort, and money. Second relates with making the design more clear, more understanding to the people who are involved. Third is associated with securing intellectual property rights. And the fourth one is about proving that yes, my idea, my POC will work. This is the proof of it. All right. Okay. Let's do the screen validation very quickly. So here comes why is the need of prototype to save time, money, and effort. So this is perfect. We need to save all these things because prototyping can be very quick, especially with 3D printing. The prototyping has become very, very quick. You know, they now there are so many number of 3D printers, very fast and very quick and very efficient, and with less amount of money, you can actually build a very, very nice looking, well finished, rough and tough, durable prototypes. Second is to proving radical concepts, new technology, and even business models. So you can prove using prototypes to evaluate various aspects of design. So there can be ergonomic aspect, there can be hand holding aspect, right? Visual aspect, experiential aspect. So all those aspects can actually be evaluated using that design and to communicate as well new ideas to the people involved. So there are multiple ways a prototype is necessary in saving, proving, evaluating, and communicating. Saving time, money, and effort, proving radical concepts, evaluating various aspects of design, and communicating new ideas to the people involved. So the correct answer is option A, which is to save time, money, and effort. Option B, to communicate new ideas to the people. And option D, which is to prove new technology and business models. So, with that, we end our set of 10 questions now, and we'll be quickly visiting the discussion forum questions. There haven't been any new, and we'll have a look at it very quickly. But these were the questions which were asked in the previous sessions and previous week's content. So after week 13, we do not have any. After query number 13, we don't have any further queries. So we can conclude our presentation for today now. But first, what we'll do is we'll just very quickly we'll save it as a copy because we don't want to lose any further information. So we will save it as a PDF first. Okay, so it's being saved. Let's check the recording status. Yeah, it's fine. 52. And let's take back to the, yeah. So this is the course page. And if you are seeing these are the repositories, we have already gone through it multiple times. But just to remind you all, you can explore by clicking download videos. You can have a look at transcripts, study materials, lecture notes from the problem solving sessions which I've been taking. You can click here and you can visit this. It's very evident, very clear. You'll be able to understand it by yourself. No big deal there. And now let's see the week 11 content as well. Just to give you a heads up on it, the week 11 assignment is already there and it will be due by 9th of April. All right. Uh, for week 10, the deadline, let's see the deadline. It's 2nd of April. Okay. You still have a couple of days left. So if you have not submitted, please submit your week 10 assignment. Referring back to week 11. So you see we have just one lecture module, which is lecture number 26. And that lecture number 26 and then week 12. These are the startup project presentations by the IIT Hyderabad MD students. All right. You'll be seeing here groups presenting in front of the panel members. These are quite long sessions. As you can see, these are like 2.5 hour sessions. But take time and have a look at it. You'll be able to understand what the different pitch, how they are presenting, what is their business model, and what their expert mentors are telling them to do. What is their feedback? How they can improve upon, right? What is their business thesis? So, from the next week to the week 12, it will be about the student group presentations wherein they'll be getting the feedback as well. All right. So broadly, this is the content left. Although week 12 content is still not up yet, but then it will be a continuation to that, because there are a number of students who have formed a certain groups and then they are working about it. Uh, let's also explore the additional learning material. So you can see here there is lots and lots of materials available there. So if you have time, please have a look at it. It will help you in the long run, right? So I think with that we can conclude our session. I'll stop sharing my screen. All right. So thank you so much. Thank you for being there. Thank you for being consistent. And with this, we are ending our week 10 lectures. And thank you for participating and voting your opinions on the various questions. We'll be meeting next week in week number 11. And then we'll be having week number 12. So there are 2 weeks left. And one final week, which will be the extra 1 hour session for your examination perspective, right? So please do attend that. And with that, we can close our session. Thank you so much.
Thank you, sir.
Thank
Have a nice day.
you. Mhm. Same to you. Okay, so we have ended the session. We still have 3-4 minutes. What we'll do is we'll just click on week 10. These are the various content, and I'll just open up the additional learning materials. So if you see here, you can click on the Google Drive location and it will open up the case study. So it has polymer solution, tempest about a teapot. So it's a study on the teapot, and it might help you. So if you have got enough time, so just have a look at it, see how it is working around, how it might help, right? And you can read it, you can understand it about it. So that is there. And yet again, I think all these links we have already discussed. But what I always request the learners is that please click on here, which is the survey about understanding incubation and entrepreneurship. So these problem solving sessions, so sorry. You can give a feedback, how you're finding these sessions, how were these effective, and how we can improvise as well, right? So I'm also a learner, and we can always improvise on certain aspects, certain things. So that is perfectly obvious that you give and share your opinions because you have been consistent in these sessions, right? So with that, let's go back to our video. All right, I think that we already covered. So let's take you to the download videos, and I'll show you what I'm trying to say about the uh, week 12 content. So here, if you see, we have the content till week 12, and here again, it's just one video which would be around 2 hours duration. Say the duration is 2 hours. So the next couple of weeks are basically about the students in the group who are pitching their startup presentations in front of the experts who will be giving certain value addition guidance. How you can improve, what all can be done, right? And yet again, you have the NPTEL stars, domain scholars, superstars, NPTEL mega stars. So these are the different badges which you can, uh, avail if you're a good performer. We'll close this and let me just quickly open the camera. Yeah, array. Yeah, yeah. So we have covered a lot of journey, a lot of learnings in these sessions, and our intent has been that we provide more understanding, more learning to our learners, and so that it improves, it builds upon their understanding of the subject. And we have been trying hard to do the same. And I do understand that, all the learners or the scholars, they have a very difficult timeline and time frame. So that's perfectly fine. The idea remains that, we are there to help you. Please keep that in mind. And whenever you get time, please join these live sessions. And even if you're not able to join these live sessions, it's always available in a common repository. So you can always access them, avail them at your comfort. Whenever you get time, you can, look at it, visit it, uh, manipulate the playback speed, quickly go through the content, go through the set of 10 questions, because these are extra set of questions, right? And it will really help you in your final examinations. So the week-wise assignment gives you 10 questions. So for 12 weeks, it's 120 questions. And in all these sessions also, we give you set of 10 questions. So you have a total bank of 240 questions with you, right? So it's a very rich bank, and it can really help you in your final examinations. So with that, we will close our session today. Thank you so much. Thanks for joining in. Namaskar.